is our last day in Paris. We are all about to fly off to different parts of Europe, or back to the United States. Overall, we've had a really good time here. We've all been here for about a month in Berlin, and then we've been in Paris too. And we're just kind of wrapping up here for our last breakfast/lunch together at this cafe in Saint Michel. And we just are going to talk a little bit about kind of what we thought about this whole trip.
So to start off, I think the most interesting thing that I found on this trip, coming into it, I expected to only experience the German and French culture, but as the trip went on, I realized I was experiencing Asian culture, African culture, a whole bunch of cultures that I did not expect to learn about, and in doing so, I broadened my knowledge, like culturally, way more than I expected, and that was a really interesting point for me, at least.
I guess personally for me, I was surprised at how much English is spoken here. Almost every local here spoke at least some sort of English, at least to get by. Some people obviously didn't speak anything, but most of them, like, I can have a conversation with them. I can at least ask questions and get in the right direction. For the most part, yeah, I was surprised by that.
I really enjoyed the amount of freedom we all had to go about as we saw fit, going to different parts of town, going to different museums and experiencing that for ourselves with others too, which was very, very fun.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking on that, it forced us to be adults, which a lot of us, it's like our first time being in a foreign country without parents maybe. And I think all of us have grown up a lot on this trip because we've learned how to do things that otherwise we wouldn't be doing.
How to use Metro without having internet, like trying to get back to your place without knowing anything or anybody.
Yeah, we've all grown a lot.
I think the obvious downside to the trip was the exchange rate. That kind of really hurt.
That was annoying to deal with, yeah.
But it kind of helped us to, kind of grow in that way of becoming more of an adult because we had to kind of watch our purchases a little bit more. But overall, this trip was just incredible in terms of how different, like, the nighttime culture is from the daytime culture. Like, you can go anywhere in the city, in both cities, and like experience something totally different in the same place during night and day. I think that was what probably surprised me the most.
Should we talk about our fair experiences in both Berlin and Paris?
Yeah. Go for it.
So Berlin, I liked the Metro the most. Out of all the places I've been, the Metro is super convenient to use. Most disappointing for Berlin with me was Checkpoint Charlie. I thought it would be super cool in an area, but it was obviously super touristy. Nothing really to do there except for like a small little museum in the corner. I was very disappointed by that, but favorite part of Berlin, probably the wall art, the tour with Jared was a lot of fun. We saw a lot of cool graffiti, a lot of cool culture. That's Berlin's famous for. I like seeing that a lot.
I thought Berlin would be a lot more historically, full of a lot more historic things, but because of World War II, a lot of it got destroyed, so that was kind of disappointing, but that gave way for a lot of more modern things to experience, such as the art and just the people in general, so that was a surprise to me. I really enjoyed that about Berlin.
Going off on what Adam mentioned about the tour with Jared, I thought that learning about the just spray painting and just street art as a whole from a different point of view than an American point of view or a Los Angeles point of view, where you don't view street art as something, you don't view it as art. It just seems bad. It tells you that you're in a bad part of town. But in Berlin, it adds to it. It adds to what the town is.
One of my favorite moments, more like generalized, is kind of like the views that we had in Berlin. There's a lot of high rises and different buildings that had like panoramic viewpoints. I thought that was really cool. And then, kind of building off the whole graffiti art thing, I think that was probably one of my favorite things to experience in Berlin was when we went to we learned about Banksy, the art of Banksy, and just just how like revolutionary this stuff is and how it's all over the world and it's seen as iconic and like celebrities are grabbing at it with cash and trying to get their hands on his artwork. So
I kind of regret not going up to like the top of the Park Inn or the top of the TV tower. I think that would have been a super cool view. I never did that.
I regret that too.
And I think it's cool that we do regret some things because that means we can come back later in life and do things differently because of what we learned.
I feel like if I ever do go back to Berlin, I'll do more to experience the nightlife because that just seemed like a really interesting part of just the culture as a whole.
We didn't get to do that much at all in Berlin. We didn't do any real nightlife stuff at all in Berlin.
Yeah, we didn't really know as much of what to do, what we could do, or what we wanted to do, which kind of helped to also come to Paris and have a lot of time in Paris because we had more time in Paris to get a feel for the town and what was around. Yeah.
I definitely think that going away internationally, you need at least about a week and a half, at least.
Yeah.
Maybe even longer is better to really get down and experience everything.
And then I guess favorite spots for Paris. Favorite moments probably either summer solstice or like walk around the city during the World Cup games, like hearing the entire city erupt and cheer when they scored a goal. That was super cool. Least favorite, the heat was pretty tough. Some of the lines were Jack through like Versailles was intensely hot and like a 2-hour wait line just for a really crowded experience. That was kind of annoying, but Paris was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot.
I just enjoy the overwhelming beauty of the city. It's nothing like I've never ever seen before, and I definitely want to come back because of the art and just all the culture and history. I did dislike, especially the heat. It was very hot here, and just there were too many people at times.
Yeah.
So